Today's video is going to be a little bit different to my usual videos and is all about my first experience using the first Tesla V3 charger outside of the US. The chargers are located just off the A40 on the way into northern London at the Tesla Park Royale service station, hence are very conveniently located. This was around a 90-minute drive away from me, so I had no excuse not to check it out a few days ago. Tesla's new V3 charger in London is the first outside of the US and hence also the first in Europe and the first to use the CCS2 connector.
So we have 8 stalls of 250 kilowatt charging, another 2 stalls here of 150 kilowatt charging, some destination chargers and a further 4 150 kilowatt chargers.
I later spotted another 2 V2 charging stalls just behind the Tesla sign. The V3 charging stalls have a new connector and liquid-cooled cables which still seem quite easy to manoeuvre. Thanks to an excellent thread on the Tesla Motors Club forum, which I'll link in the description below, with particularly excellent contributions from Zoomit, Darth Vader and B. Wilson for Web, I had my expectations set pretty high about both the anticipated charge speed and the charge profile I would achieve with the V3 charger on my Model 3. I expected to hit 250 kilowatts briefly, with an almost linear decay in charge rate from about 20 to 25% SoC onwards. So I arrived with 10% SoC, plugged in and got into the car to see what peak rate we could hit. The power ramped up rather slowly and it took about 100 seconds to ramp up to a maximum speed of 211 kilowatts. It was great to hit 211 kilowatts and it is a fantastic capability to have on the car, though it fell short of the 250 kilowatts advertised rate. I have of course sped up the video in the background so that we're not sat through a full 30-minute charging session. I suspect this was due to the battery temperature being too low. The car did not precondition for supercharging, and as the ambient temperature was 10 degrees Celsius, I know from experience that the car would typically precondition for 10 to 15 minutes prior to arrival at a supercharger. I assume the car did not precondition due to the battery being at a very low state of charge. Our time above 200 kilowatts was very limited. We were above 200 kilowatts from approximately 12.5 to 16.5% state of charge. We then had a little decay of the charge rate down to around 190 kilowatts before things started to freak out a little. The power then started to ripple between 190 and 180 kilowatts and then between around 188 and 170 kilowatts. This is likely an artifact of a controller trying to hit a target voltage limit. This went on for about 2 minutes. Once things stabilise, we're charging at a rate of 178 kilowatts at approximately 25% SoC. I then decide to reduce the target SoC from 80 to 70% SoC just because I didn't quite need a full 80% charge. And outside the car we can very clearly hear the fans on the car running, and also the pumps pushing the coolant through the liquid-cooled cables.
It's working hard.
At 32% SoC, the charge rate is 162 kilowatts, and at 50% SoC, it is 127 kilowatts. By the time we reach 70% SoC, the charge rate has decayed almost linearly to 77 kilowatts. Overall, this is an extremely impressive charge rate in comparison to the competition, and I look forward to trying the charger once again once we have some warmer weather here in the UK. Interestingly, here on the left we've got the cabinets for the V2 chargers, and on the right hand side the cabinets here for the V3 chargers, with some interesting notes on the side. The charger itself is capable of outputting up to 631 amps at up to 500 volts.
Got a pretty chunky distribution cable running down by the chargers.
And interestingly, we didn't stay above 200 kilowatts long enough for Teslafy to have captured it. that's it for now, and hopefully we can hit 250 kilowatts once we get some warmer weather.